This is our stunning American Samoa, home of KVZK-TV.
La petai le komsino le leo Samoa va amai Amerika Samoa e te tau on family na ye mo le tula fono. Fa nga solo I tua fu fanga le batanga ruenga le soifu maloloina mo tuwi le bisela. Ba ua te ena le ri fo mai a shamway to inga fa pea ua aya tele le komiti fa foe nga ruenga tangata fa nga ruenga le bauta ngase ngase. E bo wantu o le ua tu ina mai e le komisino le leu Samoa tu tasi ha ua paulong I tino Filipo. Se la pata inga I vaa uma o lo anga iatu ia pia. E wha pe mo mia e so se vaa e anga iatu ia pia ia kilia Mile Customs fa tu am failea o na ulufale atu se vaa I wafu Samoa. Samoa's Police Commissioner ua paulong I tino Filipo has issued a stern warning that folks heading to Samoa must have customs clearance on hand prior to entering its borders.
E te tau lavono si ta ia tu la fono fa vau malo le lima ta ita inai fe ngai ngā malo Samoa ma Amerika Samoa ma o so se vaa mai fafo atu Samoa e te tau lava o nau si ta ia tu la fono Samoa a fai le ai e iai fa salanga e fa sala I le tangata e ana le vaa o le saunoanga lea le komisino le leo o le malo Samoa ia ua paulong I tino Filipo I se talanoanga ma le KVZK I le mai aia riponti mai le autusitala I Samoa I le vaa mai Amerika Samoa le ana maua ua taula I savai e au noa ma pepa kilia le e te tau o na awina atu mua mo se whaatananga mai le ofiso tiu te matupe maua a le malo Samoa. Na saunoa aua paau o le vaa e ingoa o le kaitirana na tau fie leo I Samoa I le wafu I sare lulonga. Ma o inana au mai ai loa le vaa mai sale lulonga I le wafu I matautu e whaatali ai pepa e moumia mai tutuila o le taimi lava na maua ai pepa o na ina foi o na toi wha matuu ai loa le vaa. Na tawa foi e aua paau ua mai o na lapata ia le kapiteni e aua nei toi whaia le atulanga I le lupanai. Sau noa aua paau e tawa tele le puipuia o tua oio Samoa o le mafuanga lea e te tawai I so se vaa e o fiatu I sami o Samoa o na wha mai a uma pepa I moumia ai le I tau nuatu le vaa I Samoa. Le tau mawhai atu lau KVZK mo se wha amtalanga mai le susunga ia papali I lau li I alofa o le ana le vaa ai pitai e le I wha amanuieina. Ai pitai na ta ua le tamitai o Tish Pea o le Paramount Builders. O pepa ma vaenga uma na awinatu I Samoa le vaiaso a o loma le fua a Amerika Samoa. Ma na maua umai ma pepa e whaatanga ai le malanga atu o le vaa I Samoa. Na sau noa le komisina e tele vaa mai Amerika Samoa o lo awai I le tamilusanga o whai ngā whaiva o lo whai le teminei Samoa ma ua mai a uma o na whaamariei na vaenga o le tula fono e awai ai nei vaa I Samoa. International law must be upheld regardless, and the incident this past weekend is a classic example. Foreigners on Samoan waters must abide by Samoan laws, otherwise there will be consequences, and it does not matter who owns the vessel. These are the comments uttered by Aua Pa'au in an interview with KVZK News after reports by media in Samoa about a boat from American Samoa that entered Samoa waters without customs clearance document, which should be submitted to Samoa's customs and revenue at the port. Aua Pa'au said the kaitirana was seized by the Ministry of Police and Prisons in Savai at the Sarilolonga Wharf. The boat was then escorted from Savai to the Matautu Wharf to await the appropriate paperwork, and when we received the clearance, that's when the boat was released from the custody of police. The captain was verbally warned, which was documented, that next time Samoa police will not be so lenient, and that as commissioner will not hesitate to arrest anyone who violates our laws, said the police commissioner. adding that protection of Samoa borders is paramount, hence laws in place to ensure that any vessel must be cleared by customs prior to docking. Repeated efforts to get comments from Papali'i Laudi'i Alofa, the owner of Paramount Builders, which the kite runner is registered under, but were unsuccessful. However, Tish Peau spoke on behalf of Paramount Builders, said she submitted the vessel and crew's paperwork the week prior to Flag Day and received approval a few days after Flag Day, according to Talanay reports. Commissioner Awapa'au also noted that there are several boats from American Samoa participating in the Samoa International Game Fishing Tournament underway, and they provided all the necessary clearances, and everyone should follow the same process.
Lo fauina lava ona tapunia tātou isi I ma te ikea se ia isi taimi. I fufuangan ma tanga ruenga lo sui fu maloloina. Po le tau fia le pepesi o le misele le atunu. O le ua iai le fufuangan ma tanga ruenga. E a matatu tai au o na o atu I tua sui o le matanga ruenga. Mo le whatinoi no tuinga o le whanau. E patino lava I le whanau o lo I le te ikea. I se talanuanga lau KVZK ma le sunga I le li fomai a Dr. Seipale Fuimono o le whamoemoe le matanga ruenga. Ina ia awane I iai se tamaititi I le o iai le tui mo le puipuinga I le ngata I alo ma whanau ai whaapea I fo I maainga. O se whaamalamanga le nei mai le sunga le li fomai ia Dr. Fuimono.
O le fufuanga la ia ua tapena fo I le sui fu manono ina mo neva yasu. Ai me se la tai au a se tofi ma le sfarele. O le au atu tua o le atam faifo ia. Vatu tatu tui. Patino lava mo tatu tameti lo tono te kea ia a toi me isi I. Mo le te kea ia o loa iei fufuanga. E tolu a tatu sites po tatu nuu malalfanga I le la whaapela tuail tatu tui. Ia mo le whalime sai. Ia loa iei tulanga le mauta o le whiunga maputasi ia mang ia e kawaile area le amata me pangpango. Anga ia ti o yalo fau. O lo te tala tātou whan mai whai tu malo. Pe o amouri. Ia ngai nala a watu ai disi vangi tu. Ai mese lava mon mamaru. Ia watu a tātou whanau I whaile tui. O le isi a tātou site. O I leone. I'm sorry. O I ili. I le vaenga leo le ta o le JC1 daycare. O le tulanga o le daycare leo o latalata I le tātou KS Mart. E folele o lo yeila le tatu teke le faina watu e atu walo ma whanau e whaila tu tuhi. O le tatu saigon tolu o tonu leo no uli a ngai mai I tafuna ma ia o le tatu saila o le JC2 tekea center lea o lo o tafatafa po o lo la talata lava le melo i le Paradise Pizza ta tonu leo a mai le whamtalanga ia o le whale e lang moan bye ia o le Paradise Pizza.
Assistant Medical Director Dr. Seipale Fuimono says the Department of Health will take their measles vaccination campaign out in the community to ensure the unimmunized children get vaccinated. He placed emphasis on the protection that comes with vaccination against measles, mumps and rubella. In an interview with KVZK News, Dr. Fuimono says the vaccination campaign starts tomorrow, Wednesday through Friday.
For the cases, we still have 2 cases. The last has been confirmed by laboratory. And we had some probable cases that were sent for testing. The good news is they all came out negative. And as you all know that this week, the schools are now being open. And this is in regards to the meeting that was held last week with the task force and the cabinet. So schools are open with restrictions. For all the high schools and elementary, we do require that your child or your son and daughter has to be fully vaccinated before they go back to school. But for the ECE and the daycare, we are advised to close, and that's why it's for this week. The Department of Health has a plan to go out in the community for starting tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to give this vaccination, and especially to capture all this vulnerable population. We do have 3 sites. We have the Mangwa Guest House in Pango. We have the JC1 which is very close to the KS Mart in Ili, and JC2 Daycare. This is in Uli. It's close to the Paradise Pizza. We do ask parents, please, to work with us. So if you know your kid or your child has not complete or has not been vaccinated, we ask you please to take to this near site. The daycare has not been able to locate the families, and they can assist with the transportation, and then they can transport their child to all these 3 sites. But for the ECE, we've been working with the DOE that they will also provide the school bus to pick up all these kids in the ECE and to the nearest site. I do believe that the DOE as well as the Department of Health, they have been calling families and with kids that needs to be updated or to give the vaccine to please work with us. There is a number, that 219, that you can call, but I do believe that DOE as well as the ECE level, they are working together to make sure that all these kids in the ECE who hasn't been updated or hasn't received, they will call for them to be picked up tomorrow, Thursday and Friday for this vaccination site.
Dr. Fuimono also made it clear the number of laboratory confirmed cases remains at 2, with over 50 probable cases. However, the test results came back all negative for measles. Ole ali fo mai Dr. Joseph Shumway le olo AVP ma fatu sidi le tu mau le mo tanga singa se le LPJ mai lana sa wanga lau KVZK le vai aso nei na ia fa marino ai le tulanga pe ona ia le komiti fa foe o le mo tanga singa se le timinei na ia ta fo ia fa pe o lo wanga ipe luma sui o le komiti fa foe mo le tu inatu o so swani vai ngai mo mia e le mo tanga singa se da ta fo ia Dr. Shumway e fa pe i fa upunga e pe ona sara lau solo i le atu no u e winga i fa ngai inga o ngā ruenga le komiti fa foe le e te tawai ia te ia ona fa malama le tulanga o le te fono le komiti fa foe o le ali i fo mai ia Dr. Malo Mawatu le senga ma sui o le komiti fa foe o fono ti Douglas Jessup o fai Medalay Anthony Allen ma Dr. Aifili John Tufa. The LBJ's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Joseph Shumway, currently acting Chief Executive Officer, has rubbished claims that the Board of Directors are micromanaging their operation. Shumway made the comments during a recent interview with KVZK News. He said the board members have been very forthcoming and always lending a hand on what the hospital needs. Dr. Shumway said there is a perception going around in the local media that the board micromanage their operation, and it behooves him to set the record straight.
One fundamental misunderstanding that I think that's occurred in American Samoa is there's this constant play in the media about the board micromanaging the hospital. That is not the case. Every time Dr. Ladua and I have gone to the board and expressed and talked about concerns, all we've done is taken our thoughts, our best ideas, and shared them with 5 other people, right? Those 5 other people are additional brain power to help us make good decisions. So I have never felt, I don't believe Dr. Ladua has ever felt, that there's actually been ever any micromanagement of us and our professional decisions. We appreciate the board.
The board is currently chaired by Dr. Malo Mawatu Lesenga, with members Funuti Douglas Jessup, Fai Medalay Anthony Allen, and Dr. Aifili John Tufa. O le ua toe te tala nei au nanga ale matanga luenga o le puipuing o le saunga le mula tele I whangaitua. E pei o na masini ai talu mai o na tapunia e na matanga luenga o le suifu maloloina o no le saunga le mu mo le au whainga luenga. O le ofisio leo I whangaitua le olo o vaaya e Major Lima Tungia I le teiminei. I le teimilo I loilonga na mautu usui I le mata upu na ta wai e le sui komisino leo ia teri le tuli whapea. E se lau se funu mani fitu le au whainga luenga o ali I malo le malo le ua ta api no whanga ese o lo iai ofiso leo ti tasi. I le lava mata upu na whaalia ai a tunga lunga le a fionga I le li whaipule ia luai taua Jean Ben I le lava o li malo le malo I le tui se sae o le atunu. The Department of Public Safety's East Substation has reopened in full force after it was shut down by the Department of Health in January this year. The East substation was closed down due to unsanitary conditions after days after the transfer of the police officers to the central station. The Whangaitua station is now overseen by Major Lima Tungia. During a hearing on these issues several months ago, Deputy Commissioner Terry Letuli said there are 117 officers that are being distributed among the central station, Leone station, and the west substation. The hearing was in relation to concerns raised by the representative, Waitawa Jin Ben, over the lack of police presence on the Far East side. With only one dispatcher assigned there, the Faipule also called on the Lemanu and Talaweng administration to readjust their priorities in terms of the public safety for residents living in the Far East of Tutuila Island. Waitawa pointed to residents on the east side that require the assistance of police, having to wait for police officers from Whangatongo to respond, which is concerning. Let's take a short break. More news coming up, so stay with us.
Where the road ends, 5G begins. On April 15, 2023, one name has become the first to commercially test this service over its network, Astica. We have become your first 5G carrier in American Samoa, ushering our territory into the digital era. Get ready for 5G. Where the road ends, 5G begins. On April 15, 2023, one name has become the first to commercially test this service over its network, Astica. We have become your first 5G carrier in American Samoa, ushering our territory into the digital era. Get ready for 5G and be 5G ready. Coming soon to a tower and village near you. Astica, your home team.
Ile toe te lumai o tala lau KVZK nei vai ngole fiafi o le ua amata le fontanga o ta ua le Select USA Investment Summit i le Maryland. I Maryland le o loo awaia tuai sui o le malo i le kovana sili me isi o whaurulunga matanga ruenga o le nei fontanga tele. O se ava noa ta ua e whaalau loa i Amerika Samoa o se territorio Amerika e whaatu sina mai ai au whaipisinisi ma whaamnianga muta ngata lu tele. E tele ava noa ma whaamunianga o loo turi matai pea e le territory. Au iai le nei whonutanga le e whaita wafe tangata mai si tete mai si atuna o le larolangi o loo awa iai. Mo Amerika Samoa o se ava noa le lei nei e whaalawi loa ai ava noa me whai o na maua e le malo mo le manui o tatu tangata. E se vaenga o le whaalawi loa a Amerika Samoa. O le so le ana whaafia ai le American Samoa Youth Young Ambassadors mo le au usufono. Ta ua le whaatonu o le matanga ruenga o pisinisi ma la manuia. O avano le lei e mau e le territory i le awaiai i nei whaamoe moe e le ngata mo nei e mai suru manai. The 2023 Select USA Investment Summit returns to National Harbor, Maryland from May 1st to 4th, 2023 to establish new connections and opportunities to grow through investing in the U.S. The Investment Summit is the top event in the United States for FDI promotion, connecting investors, companies, and economic development organizations and industries experts to seize every opportunity available to make investment deals happen through the U.S. American Samoa is amongst the territories and states of the U.S. taking part in this year's Investment Summit. Leading our delegation from American Samoa, Director Peti Mutila of the Department of Commerce said these opportunities are vital for American Samoa to attract potential investors and encourage them to learn more about business opportunities available locally. Today, at the main hotel where all delegates are staying for the summit, our American Samoa young ambassadors took center stage to showcase our culture in a 30 minutes cultural performance. With the Select USA Summit, Governor Lemanu Palepoisia Lengabaunga highlighted expanding American Samoa's foreign investment opportunities in shipyard industry as a viable option for creating more jobs and sustainable economic development. However, to successfully enter this type of industry, American Samoa must prioritize the development of a skilled workforce. As the global economy continues to evolve, it is imperative for countries to create and maintain a highly skilled workforce that can adapt to different industries. This sentiment has become increasingly relevant in American Samoa, where training opportunities have been limited due to geographical constraints. E talamai Samoa na amatatu i le aso tolu le masira nei o na whaamarusia le whaiutui o le misela. E tu sai ma le vaenga luse furuiwa le tukla fono a le suifu maroloina. E tu sai ma le pipisi o le misela i Amerika Samoa. Wa fautui nai nei tangata uma e whai malangatu mai Amerika Samoa e au fiai pepe mai leono masina ma tangata matutua. E nei a whaia se tui pui o le misela a o le i malanga ese mai mo Samoa. Ua fautui na fo i tangata uma e whaalia pe patui le malai waalele i tafuna i Amerika Samoa. Mo le whaamauninga ai a whai o loo i lungo le telefoni e te tau na iai suna numera whaamaunia po le QR code. A le ai se pepa whaamaunia o le tui misela i le whaatangai na fo i o na malanga atu mo Samoa. A whai ua maua e se isi i aunga o le tale ma tutu a mumu pe fula mata ta whele isu ma fatua pata e ena mai le pau a mata mai le ulu a sosolo ifo i le tino ma le langona se fia ai ia whaafiso tai vave loa se fo mai la tane. In our news from up here, the measles outbreak in American Samoa with its imminent spread to Samoa realizes the need for vigilance at the international borders. In doing so, the Ministry of Health, pursuant to Section 29 of the Health Ordinance 1959, strongly advises that all travelers, including infants aged 6 months and above, are required to be vaccinated with at least a single dose of the measles-containing vaccine before entering Samoa, even if this was given the day before. Infants below 6 months and pregnant mothers are exempted from this requirement. A legitimate vaccine certificate note is required before boarding, and a hard copy must be presented both at check-in and upon arrival into Samoa for citing. Vaccine certificates in electronic form stored on phones or other electronic devices must have a QR code. Failure to provide a legitimate vaccination certificate or can result in no boarding or denied entry into Samoa. All passengers are required to wear face masks at all times and are strongly encouraged to take precautionary and preventive measures within the first 7 days of arrival. I tātou tala mai na Pasifika, o le ua toe te tala mai i tua le sa ave malo i sili le malo fiti. E le mai ai o na tutongi le tupe tau fia le na whaatunuine le whaamsidonga e tutongi te tala i tua. O le lii ia Said Kayam, lea o lo o molia i le modianga o le whaongai na le te tau taimi whainga luenga e tutonu ofisa. E se fulu afe tā la fiti, lea na tutongi e te tala i tua le lii nei ia Kayam. O le foi ua maia o na whaatunuina o ia e tu ina atu uma na pepa malanga ina ia tau fiai do na malanga ese ai ma le atunu ofiti. In our news from the Pacific, Fiji's former Attorney General Said Kaiham was granted bail by a local court on Tuesday. Said Kaiham is charged with 1 count of abuse of office. He has been released on a Fijian $10 bail by magistrate while in George, according to local media reports. Kaiham has been ordered to surrender his travel documents and reside at his permanent residence in Nadi. His bail conditions also include reporting to the Namaka police station on the last Saturday of every month and not to interfere with witnesses. Kaiham did not take a plea. The case has been adjourned to June 13th for the second phase of disclosures. Ia ele au winatu ia le tau mo Amerika Samoa se vainga nei le whaaliwino tupe i le nei fo yaso. Ya oleh fadliwina nau tu pada nei fo ya fiafi tu mo tisi fadliwina fo tantu tu pe ile aso an tau. Ar terminei usi mai lo lau mai moa is e fa puponga was a reporti fo I o le tantu tau. Stand by, here's your weather. Ia o se vainga na le tau mo Amerika Samoa I le nei fo I vainga le fiafi. Ia ma o le whaiunga le fo ina na o tala mai lau KVZK to mo tisi o na whapuponga I le aso antau tau whansi fua. And that concludes your news from KVZK TV. We'll have more for you tomorrow. Until then, enjoy the rest of your night.